I'm your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. I shared a message with my WhatsApp mentorship group on tipping point. One of Newton's laws of motion states that everything stays in a state of rest or permanent motion until a force is applied. But even if you are applying that force has to reach a certain level before it can move or stop. So if you have a tipper that throws sand, you will see that when the mechanism is raising the bucket, it reaches a point before sand starts spilling out of the tipper. And there are different levels of tipping until the bucket is empty. So the tipping point is that point where there is a significant noticeable change. And so in 2 Kings chapter 13, 17 to 18, there was the king of Israel and Elisha. And the king of Israel came to meet Elisha, and Elisha was sick, the sickness that he died from. That passage frightens me, because the man was anointed, did great miracles, but there was a sickness that he died from. Because I hear men of God today say they can't be sick and all that, but he died of his sickness. Maybe you said Jesus had not been crucified then. So he called the king. He said, you will defeat the king of Syria. So he took the king's hand and put his hand on the hand of the king of Syria, took bow and arrow and shot in the direction of Syria. So this is how you will defeat the king of Syria. Then he took some arrows, put in the hands of the king, and told the king to strike the ground. The king struck the ground 3 times and stopped. And Elisha was very angry. He said, you should have struck about 5 times to 6 times, so that you will have totally crushed the king of Syria. So striking 3 times had not reached the tipping point. 5 to 6 times would have been the tipping point. So I know people who put in little efforts and they stop. They had not reached the tipping point. Let me quickly illustrate. The king there is like a mentee. Elisha was an instructor, a mentor. I had a young man whose children attended my school, and just because he saw the way we were running school, he decided to open a school. Fine and good, no problem. I saw him with the paper he wrote the proposal on. He didn't know I saw him. I saw it, and he hid it from me. And then after 2 years, he came. He told me that I should come and pray for something. I said, what is it? He said, school. That he wants to open a school. I said, I saw that paper 2 years back when you were hiding it from me. So I now prayed for him, and he started the school. I gave him counsel to a point. But because he did not understand the fullness of the instruction, and I saw his smartness and his craftiness, I did not give him the whole instruction. He did not reach the tipping point of being successful in running school. So he ran the school to a point, started having problems with his wife because he did not follow my instructions or get my instructions to know how to run school with your wife. And then he was writing books I will edit and forward for him and help him do the launching. But at a point now, he has stagnated. He didn't reach the tipping point of success because he stopped halfway or stopped flogging the ground. What that king should have done was to be communicating, consulting, and relating with Elisha, asking for instructions, because Elisha was the initiator of the plan. But he stopped halfway, and as he stopped halfway, he could not win the victory. When you have a mentor and he's sharing instructions with you and gives you instructions, be coordinating with him, communicating with him, and consulting him, and ask him, is this all right, sir? Can I stop now? What do I do next? When you do that, you will now reach a tipping point, and that tipping point is what turns your life around. I know a young man I introduced to writing books. So he started selling books. He sold and brought a tithe of dollars to me. Or a gift of dollars to me. I told him, you are the first person I have taught how to write books and brought money to me. I will now teach you how to sell books. So I now taught him how to sell books. The problem with Africa and many African countries, particularly like Nigeria, we gained independence, but we didn't inculcate into ourselves the principles of independent democratic nations that leads to development. So we function in a prismatic society, according to Fred Riggs. If you want to know what prismatic society is, send me a message, I will tell you. So when you have an instructor, you have a leader, you have a parent, you have an elder that is instructing you, mentoring you, giving you directions, try as much as possible to follow him and listen to him and learn from him until you reach a tipping point. That is the difference between the Igbos and any other nationality in Africa. That's why they are one of the richest tribes in the world, because they learn under the master the skills of the business, they relate with customers until the master is satisfied and settles them. When they settle them, they reach a tipping point. That's the difference. We're going to be doing more videos on tipping points. I hope you have learned something from this. Don't settle, don't stop prematurely. Be consistent, be consulting, be communicating, be contacting with the person who gave you the original ideas until you reach a point where you are good enough to go on your own. God bless you. I remain your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. Send me a message on +2347052136763 for 3 reasons. Number 1, I have properties for sale. Number 2, you can join my WhatsApp mentorship group. Number 3, I have an online seminar coming up on the 1st of May by 7 p.m. If you send a message to the number I've just quoted, I will send you the flyer of how to register, to know how to prepare for retirement, to be relevant, and to have a very wonderful, productive life. At 65, I'm having fun and I'm most productive. God bless you.